Ever wondered how the rich get richer using debt? It's a question that's probably crossed your mind. After all, we've all been taught that debt is a dreadful thing to avoid at all costs. It's this scary monster that lurks in the shadows, ready to pounce on us if we dare to borrow. But what if I told you that this monster isn't as frightful as it seems? What if, in the hands of the savvy and the shrewd, it could transform into a powerful tool? Here's the twist. Not all debt is created equal. Yes, you heard that right. There's such a thing as good debt and bad debt. The difference lies in how you use it. Bad debt, as you might guess, is the kind that keeps you up at night, worrying about how you're going to pay it back. It's the credit card bills from that shopping spree, the high-interest payday loans. This kind of debt can spiral out of control, dragging you down into a pit of financial despair. But then, there's good debt. This is the kind of debt that the wealthy leverage to their advantage. It's the low-interest loan taken out to invest in a promising business venture, the mortgage used to acquire a rental property, or the student loan for a degree that significantly boosts earning potential. Good debt, when used wisely, can be a stepping stone to greater wealth. So how do the rich use debt to grow their wealth? How do they tame the debt monster and make it work for them? The answer is not as mysterious as it might seem. In fact, there are 10 key ways in which the affluent use debt as a tool for wealth creation. These strategies involve understanding the intricacies of financial markets, leveraging opportunities, and making calculated risks. They're about seeing debt not as a burden, but as a resource, a means to an end. So let's unravel the mystery behind these 10 ways the rich use debt to grow wealth. Let's take a journey into the world of the wealthy and unveil the secret of how they turn debt into dollars. Firstly, the rich use debt for real estate leverage. Now you might be wondering, what exactly does this mean? Well, let's break it down. Real estate leverage is the act of using borrowed capital to increase the potential return on an investment. In simpler terms, it's like using other people's money to make more money. Here's how it works. Imagine you have $100,000. You could buy a house for that amount and hope for its value to increase over time. But what if you could buy 5 houses instead? By using your money as a down payment and borrowing the rest, you can. This is the power of leverage, and it doesn't stop there. Once you've got these properties, you can rent them out. The rental income can then cover the mortgage payments and potentially generate some extra cash on the side. But wait, there's more. With mortgage loans, you can lock in a property at today's price and pay it off over time. This means you're essentially using future income to invest today. And with property values generally increasing over time, this could mean significant gains in the long run. Leverage, however, is a double-edged sword. It can magnify returns, but it can also amplify losses if the property value decreases. Therefore, it's crucial to be mindful and strategic when using leverage. So leverage in real estate is a powerful tool when used correctly. It allows you to maximize your return on investment using both your money and borrowed capital. And that, my friends, is how the rich use debt to their advantage. Secondly, debt fuels business expansion. It's a common misconception that debt is always a liability. But when used strategically, it can be a powerful tool for growth and prosperity. Think about it. Successful businesses don't grow merely by hoarding profits. They use debt to expand operations, to invest in new projects, to hire more staff, and to enter new markets. Take the concept of business loans, for instance. These aren't just financial burdens that companies must bear. Instead, they're crucial catalysts propelling businesses forward. A business loan can fund the acquisition of a competitor, the launch of a new product line, or an upgrade to the latest technology. And here's the beautiful part. As a business expands, it generates more revenue. This additional revenue can offset the cost of the loan and even lead to higher profits. It's like a snowball effect. The more you roll, the bigger it gets. But remember, this isn't a reckless dash for cash. It's a calculated strategy. Businesses must evaluate the potential return on investment before taking on debt. They must consider the interest rates, the repayment terms, and the potential risks. The goal isn't to drown in debt, but to use it as a stepping stone to greater heights. And so, the rich don't shy away from debt. They embrace it, they manage it, and they use it to their advantage. Indeed, business expansion is a brilliant way to utilize debt. Thirdly, the rich buy assets, not liabilities. So what's the difference between these two? Well, assets put money into your pocket, they generate income. This could be a rental property, stocks, bonds, or even a small business. On the other hand, liabilities take money out of your pocket. These include personal loans, credit card debts, and car loans, among others. Now here's the real secret. The wealthy use debt strategically to acquire more assets. They borrow money at a low interest rate and use it to buy income-generating assets. Let's say they take out a loan to buy a rental property. The rent they collect not only covers the loan repayment but also provides them with a steady stream of income. In other words, they're making money from borrowed money. See the magic here? Debt becomes a tool, not a burden. It's a means to expand wealth, rather than diminish it. That's how the rich make their money work for them. Fourthly, debt can offer tax advantages. Now this might sound counterintuitive, but let's delve a bit deeper. You see, certain types of debt, such as mortgages and student loans, can provide tax benefits. It's all about understanding the system and leveraging it to your advantage. For instance, the interest you pay on your mortgage can be tax deductible. Similarly, student loan interest can also be deducted from your taxable income. This effectively reduces the amount of tax you owe, leading to significant savings over time. The same logic applies to business loans. The interest on these loans can be written off as a business expense, reducing the overall taxable income. It's a strategy that the wealthy have been using for years to keep more of their money. The rich don't just earn, they save and they optimize. So the rich know how to make taxes work in their favor. Fifthly, the rich invest in education. Now this might seem like a common idea, but let's delve deeper. When we say the affluent invest in education, we're not merely talking about sending their kids to Ivy League schools. It's about investing in knowledge that can open up doors to better earning opportunities. For instance, they might take on debt to finance a degree in a high-demand field, or to acquire a new skill that can result in a significant return on investment. Additionally, they may use debt to fund their children's education, giving them a head start in life. This isn't just about traditional education either. It could be investing in learning a new language, mastering an instrument, or even attending a business course. The key here is that this type of debt is not a burden, but a stepping stone to greater wealth. Indeed, education is an investment that pays off well. Sixthly, the rich take advantage of low interest rates. Now let's dive into the mechanics of this tactic. Essentially, it's all about timing. When interest rates are low, the wealthy see this as an opportunity to borrow. But they don't just borrow for the sake of it, they have a strategic plan in place. They use the borrowed money to invest in businesses or assets that yield higher returns. Imagine it as a seesaw. On one side, you have the low interest rates of the borrowed money. On the other side, you have the high returns from the investment. The goal here is to make sure the return side is always heavier. This strategy requires a deep understanding of the market and careful risk assessment. If done correctly, it can result in significant profit. So it's not just about borrowing money, it's about making that money work for you. That's how the rich play the interest game. Seventhly, the rich use debt to build credit. Now what does that mean? Well, imagine credit as a scorecard of your financial responsibility. It's a measure of how reliable you are with borrowed money. The more you prove yourself capable of handling debt, the higher your credit score. So, how do the wealthy do this? They borrow money and pay it back on time every time. They use credit cards for purchases they can afford, then swiftly pay off the balance. This consistent, responsible use of debt sends a positive signal to creditors. And why do they care about their credit score? Because a good credit history opens up a world of financial opportunities. It can lead to lower interest rates on loans, better terms on mortgages, and even influence business negotiations. It's like a golden key, unlocking financial doors that remain closed to others. Good credit is indeed a powerful tool. Eighthly, the rich use debt for diversification. Now, what does diversification mean in the context of wealth creation? In simple terms, it's about not putting all your eggs in one basket. Instead, you spread your investments across a variety of assets. This strategy reduces the risk of loss by ensuring that a poor performance by one investment doesn't wipe out your entire portfolio. Picture this: you're a wealthy investor, but all your money is tied up in real estate. Now what happens if the property market crashes? You could lose everything, right? But if you've diversified your investments using borrowed money, you could have money in stocks, bonds, or even art and antiques. So even if one market crashes, you're not left out in the cold. How does debt come into play? Well, the rich often use debt to access more capital, which they then use to diversify their investments. This method increases the potential for returns, as they're now playing in multiple markets, and it helps to spread the risk. Imagine borrowing money at a low interest rate, then investing it in an asset that yields a higher return. The difference becomes your profit. This is how the rich use debt to their advantage. It's not about reckless borrowing, but strategic planning. Remember, diversification isn't just about survival, It's about thriving in the world of investments. Diversification is indeed the key to building wealth. Ninthly, the rich use debt to their advantage during inflation. Now, this is a concept that might seem counterintuitive at first, but let's unravel it. Inflation, as you may know, is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. It's often perceived as a villain in the economic world. However, for the wealthy who carry debt, it can surprisingly turn into an ally. Here's how. When inflation rises, the value of money falls. This means that if you borrowed money in the past, you're now repaying your debt with money that is worth less than when you initially borrowed it. In other words, you're paying back with cheaper money. Let's paint a picture. Suppose you borrowed $100,000 to invest in a business 5 years ago. Fast forward to today, and due to inflation, the value of that $100,000 has decreased. But here's the kicker. You still only owe the original amount you borrowed, not its inflated value. So, you're effectively repaying your debt with devalued money. The rich understand this concept and strategically use debt to their advantage during inflationary periods. They borrow money to invest in assets that are likely to appreciate over time, offsetting the effects of inflation. So, while inflation generally gets a bad rap, it can serve as a powerful tool in the right hands. Inflation can indeed be a friend when you have debt. Lastly, the rich use debt for wealth creation. Now, this might sound counterintuitive to some, given that we often associate debt with financial strain and stress. However, when used strategically, debt can indeed be a powerful tool for wealth accumulation. Think of debt as a lever. A lever amplifies your efforts, enabling you to lift heavier weights than you could with your bare hands. Similarly, debt can amplify your financial resources, allowing you to invest in opportunities that would otherwise be out of reach. But how exactly do the wealthy use debt to create wealth? Well, they do so by leveraging all the points we've discussed in the previous scenes. They use debt to invest in real estate, expand businesses, buy assets, gain tax advantages, invest in education, take advantage of low interest rates, build credit, diversify investments, and offset the effects of inflation. Each of these strategies, when executed correctly, can yield substantial returns. And by using debt to fund these ventures, the wealthy can increase their potential returns without tying up their own capital. But remember, while debt can provide significant financial leverage, it also carries risks. Therefore, it's crucial to use it responsibly and strategically. So let's not view debt as an enemy, but rather, see it as a tool that, when wielded with wisdom and prudence, can help create wealth and financial freedom. Debt, when used wisely, can indeed be a stepping stone to wealth. So, to sum up, the rich use debt as a tool, not a burden. It's like a secret game of chess, where every decision is thought out, calculated, and leveraged. Real estate, for instance, is a key player in this game. The wealthy use debt to purchase properties, leveraging it to build wealth over time. Business expansion is another strategy. By borrowing money, they can grow their businesses, leading to higher profits down the line. Buying assets, too, is a crucial part of the rich's debt strategy. They use loans to acquire income-generating assets such as stocks or businesses. And let's not forget about the tax advantages. By smartly managing their debts, the rich can lower their taxable income, saving a significant amount in taxes. Investing in education is another avenue where the wealthy use debt. They understand that knowledge pays the best interest, and thus, they're not afraid to borrow money for quality education. Low interest rates, building credit, diversification, and the inflation advantage are other tools in their arsenal. They take advantage of low interest rates, build a robust credit profile, diversify their investments, and even use inflation to their benefit. Finally, the rich understand that debt can be a powerful tool for wealth creation. They use it to leverage opportunities and grow their wealth exponentially. Remember, it's not about how much money you make, but how you make your money work for you. And clearly, the rich know exactly how to make their debt work for them.